You have 24 hours to tear down that gaudy project, or I'll call the sheriff and make you regret ever setting foot here. Vanessa Reynolds, president of the Pine Ridge HOA, shouted, pointing at Nathan Brooks's half-built modern mansion. Her eyes blazed, as if she could burn down the entire Colorado mountain range. But Vanessa had no idea that a single secret in Nathan's hands could topple her entire empire of power, leaving her bankrupt, jobless, and facing prison. A secret buried for decades, holding the fate of the entire community, was waiting for Nathan to unveil. Want to know what led to this moment? Drop your thoughts in the comments. When you finish this story, if you find it worth your time, share it with friends and consider subscribing to the channel. Tomorrow, I'll bring you another unforgettable story just for you. The Colorado mountain wind swept through, carrying the sharp scent of pine and the faint gurgle of a stream weaving through rocks. Nathan Brooks, a 40-year-old black billionaire, stood in the middle of the 15-acre plot he'd inherited, gazing at the Rocky Mountains stretching out like a challenge. In a tailored suit, with an Audemars Piguet watch glinting on his wrist and a razor-sharp gaze, Nathan exuded the presence of a man who never backed down. He was the founder of FinTech Innovate, a financial technology company that took him from the slums of Atlanta to the cover of Forbes. Today, Nathan wasn't in a sleek boardroom or on a yacht in Miami. He stood on his land, overseeing a construction crew installing glass panels for a modern mansion, a place to find peace after years of battling prejudice and pressure. The land was a legacy from his uncle, Roland Brooks, a secretive real estate investor who passed away a year ago. Roland never boasted. He'd show up at family gatherings with a cryptic smile and stories about land worth more than diamonds. The family thought he was a failed investor, but when the lawyer called to say Nathan had inherited 15 acres of prime land near a luxury resort in Colorado, he knew Roland had left him something extraordinary. Nathan was tired of the scrutinizing stares from the elite, the whispers that a black man didn't belong at the top. He sold a chunk of FinTech Innovate for billions and moved to Colorado to build a place where his 16-year-old daughter, Ava, could visit and feel proud of her father. The mansion, with bulletproof glass and minimalist design, was Nathan's vision: modern, unyielding, and independent. 6 days after breaking ground, trouble arrived. A black Bentley pulled up to the construction site, kicking up dust. Vanessa Reynolds, Pine Ridge HOA president, stepped out, her platinum blonde hair sharp, her designer business attire crisp, and an iPad clutched like a weapon. A group of residents trailed her, their eyes sizing up Nathan like he was an intruder. "Who are you, and why are you building this thing without permission?" Vanessa barked, glaring at Nathan with open contempt. "This place isn't for people like you." Nathan stood tall, his voice low but sharp as steel. "I'm Nathan Brooks, owner of this land, and who are you to barge in here and lecture me?" He crossed his arms, locking eyes with Vanessa. Vanessa smirked, cold as the mountain stone. "I'm Vanessa Reynolds, president of Pine Ridge. This project violates every community rule: no permits, no design approval, and it's a threat to our property values." She swiped her iPad, pulling up a document that looked official. "Your uncle, Roland Brooks, signed an agreement with us 8 months ago. You inherited the land, which means you inherited the obligations." Nathan raised an eyebrow. "An agreement? My uncle died a year ago. How could he sign anything 8 months ago?" He caught a flicker of unease in Vanessa's eyes, though she hid it well. Vanessa emailed him a cease and desist order, along with a $4,000 fine for violations. "Tear it all down within 24 hours, or you'll face $800 daily fines, doubling every week." She stepped closer, her voice dropping with menace. "Let's be frank, Mr. Brooks. This is an upscale community. We have standards about the kind of people allowed here. I'd hate for your daughter, Ava, to be embarrassed by the trouble you're causing. Ava's name hit like a blade. Nathan clenched his fists, but kept his composure. "Did you just threaten my daughter?" His voice was colder than the mountain wind, his gaze piercing Vanessa's arrogance. "I'm offering advice," Vanessa replied, her smile sharp as a knife. "Some fights aren't meant for people like you. Don't make this worse." She turned, heading back to her Bentley, but paused before driving off. 24 hours. Mr. Brooks, don't test me." As her taillights vanished down the mountain road, Nathan stood there, phone in hand with the cease and desist email, staring at the gleaming glass frame of his mansion. Roland's words echoed in his mind. "This land is power. Nathan, don't let anyone take it from you." Vanessa Reynolds thought she held all the cards, but she was about to face an opponent she couldn't imagine. The next morning, Vanessa didn't wait 24 hours. She returned, this time with a lawyer, Walter Klein, in a wrinkled suit and a battered briefcase. "Mr. Brooks, you're officially being sued," Vanessa declared, her voice dripping with triumph. "Stop construction immediately and prepare to pay $25,000 in fines for violating HOA rules. Furthermore, you never received our disclosure documents when you inherited the land, so your ownership is invalid." Nathan gave a faint smile, taking the papers from Walter's trembling hands. $25,000 for building on my own land. "That's bold," he said, his tone laced with sarcasm. "I'll review this with my lawyer." Vanessa laughed, her voice sharp as shattered glass. "A lawyer, Mr. Brooks. Don't embarrass yourself. People like you don't belong here, and you know it." She turned away, leaving her threat hanging like a storm cloud over the mountain. Nathan didn't waste time. He called Ethan Carter, an old friend from MIT, now a financial data analyst with a knack for uncovering hidden truths. "Ethan, I need you to dig into the Pine Ridge HOA," Nathan said, his voice steady but firm. "Find out how they operate, who's behind it, and why they're targeting my land." Ethan didn't hesitate. "Give me a few days. If there's anything shady, I'll find it." Nathan trusted Ethan, who had exposed financial fraud for major corporations before. Nathan drove his Tesla Model X to the county courthouse, where Ellen, a friendly clerk, helped him sift through property records. The dusty air of old documents felt like a treasure hunt. Then Nathan found something that made his blood boil. Pine Ridge was formed 8 months ago, 4 months after Roland's death. That meant his uncle couldn't have signed any agreement. The HOA's boundaries were oddly drawn, circling Nathan's land, with only 18 other houses. His 15 acres made up nearly 70% of the area. "Something's off," Ellen whispered, pointing at the map. "It looks like someone targeted your land on purpose." Nathan nodded, holding back any conclusions. He needed Ethan's findings to confirm his suspicions. Later that day, Ethan sent an email with initial data Pine Ridge has collected about $1.5 million in special assessments in 8 months from just 18 families. No signs of spending on amenities or community projects. "I'm digging deeper, but this doesn't look like a normal HOA." Nathan's suspicions grew stronger. He contacted Lisa Tran, a sharp real estate lawyer who'd helped him with billion-dollar deals. Lisa's office smelled of fresh espresso. "I've got preliminary evidence that Pine Ridge is operating illegally," Nathan said, showing her Ethan's email and the courthouse documents. "But I need you to dig deeper. If they're playing dirty, I want to beat them with the truth." Lisa nodded, flipping through the papers. "If your uncle didn't sign their agreement, they have no legal standing. I'll verify everything, but this could be a major scam." Vanessa didn't stop. She called an emergency community meeting, excluding Nathan. His neighbor, Greg, a retired doctor, texted him afterward. "She called you a dangerous outsider trying to ruin the community. She even hinted you don't belong here because, well, you know, your race." Vanessa went further. She created a Facebook group. Pine Ridge Safety, posting Nathan's photo from an old Forbes interview with warnings about a dangerous intruder threatening kids and property values. The comments were vicious. Get him out. We don't need his kind here. Nathan's anger surged. Vanessa wasn't just targeting him. She was dragging Ava into it, causing her to be shunned by school friends over lies. But Vanessa made a critical mistake. In her rush to prove Pine Ridge had funds to sue, she posted financial records on the group $1.5 million in special assessments from 18 families in 8 months. No amenities, no projects, nothing. Lisa nearly jumped out of her chair when Nathan sent her the evidence. She just exposed a trail of financial fraud. If we can prove it, this is a federal case. Nathan knew he had an edge. But Vanessa wasn't done. One morning, a county inspector's truck pulled up, issuing a citation for construction violations. The inspector, visibly uncomfortable, muttered, "Sorry, Mr. Brooks, orders from above." Nathan sensed the stench of corruption, sharp as smoke. Vanessa wasn't just playing legal games, she was using the county's machinery to crush him. But Nathan Brooks was no stranger to battles. He'd overcome prejudice, built an empire from nothing, and now he was ready to fight for what was his. A bigger secret was waiting to be uncovered, one that would make Vanessa Reynolds pay dearly for her arrogance and bias. Vanessa Reynolds didn't stop at threats or fines. She escalated the fight to a ruthless new level. One night, as the faint moonlight filtered through the pines, the sound of shattering glass jolted Nathan awake. The acrid smell of diesel fuel hit his nose as he rushed to the construction site. The scene made his blood boil, building materials smashed to pieces, bulletproof glass panels shattered like they'd been hit with a sledgehammer, and nails scattered across the access road, glinting under the moonlight like a deadly warning. Nathan checked the security cameras he'd installed after Vanessa's first visit. The footage was crystal clear. A hooded man, his build familiar, poured diesel over a pile of lumber, clearly intending to set it ablaze. When he looked up, the security lights caught his face. Jason Reynolds, Vanessa's 25-year-old son, his eyes wide with panic as he realized he'd been recorded. Nathan smiled coldly. Vanessa had upgraded from threats to criminal acts, and she'd just put herself in a losing position. The next morning, an email from the environmental agency arrived, accusing Nathan of damaging a sensitive wetland, a small stream that had flowed through his land long before Vanessa was born. An obvious smear. Then, residents' cars began parking near his property's entrance, not fully blocking it, but making it tough for supply trucks to get through. When Nathan approached, they shrugged, claiming to be concerned citizens exercising their right to park on public roads. Their fake smiles were as bitter as the diesel still lingering in the air. Vanessa went dirtier. Warning signs reading hazardous construction zone, authorized personnel. Only sprouted along the mountain road, looking official enough to fool anyone. Nathan's contractor, Mike, called in a panic. "Nathan, clients are asking if I'm licensed for hazardous waste cleanup. Rumors are spreading that your site's contaminated. I can't let this tank my business." Vanessa had turned the community into a weapon against Nathan. But Nathan didn't flinch. He knew desperate people made mistakes, and Vanessa was overreaching. He called Ethan Carter, his financial analyst friend. "Ethan, I need you to dig deeper into Pine Ridge. They're not just targeting me, something bigger's going on." Ethan, his voice buzzing with excitement, replied, "I found something juicy. Pine Ridge is funneling money to shell companies that don't exist. I'm tracing it, but it's tied to Vanessa's husband, Edward Reynolds. I'll send a detailed report soon." While waiting for Ethan, Nathan got a text from Greg, the retired doctor neighbor. "Nathan, Vanessa just posted on the Facebook group, calling you a security threat, saying you're planning to sabotage the area." She even shared a photo of you holding what looks like a weapon. It's just your drill, but angled to look suspicious. Nathan checked the group. Vanessa's post was flooded with vicious comments. Call SWAT, protect our kids. But Greg texted again. 3 HOA families reached out to me privately. They're scared of Vanessa. She's threatening to hike fees if they don't sign statements against you. Nathan sensed the tide shifting. Vanessa wasn't just attacking him, she was strong-arming the community. He forwarded the info to Lisa Tran. His lawyer, Lisa. Vanessa's using social media to slander me and bullying residents to turn on me. What can we do? Lisa replied, her voice sharp. Public slander is a civil offense. Coercing residents is extortion. I'll prep a lawsuit, but we need more evidence. That evening, Ethan sent a detailed report. Nathan. Pine Ridge collected $1.5 million from 18 families, but over $900,000 went to accounts tied to Edward Reynolds' construction company. No valid invoices, no real projects. Plus, I found a $60 million resort development proposal from Peak Pulse Resorts. They need your land to complete it. Vanessa's not just running the HOA, she's working for developers. Nathan was stunned. His land was the key to a multi-million-dollar project, and Vanessa was desperate to seize it. But she didn't know Nathan was ready. He upgraded his security high-res cameras, motion sensors, and auto floodlights. If Vanessa wanted to play criminal, she'd be caught in the act. That night, cameras caught a truck with no plates creeping down his access road. The driver, Jason Reynolds again, poured liquid near the materials, clearly planning another fire. The floodlights snapped on, illuminating Jason's face. He bolted, leaving behind a gas can and matches. Nathan saved the video to a secure drive. This wasn't just vandalism, it was criminal evidence. The next morning, Vanessa escalated. A process server delivered an emergency court order, accusing Nathan of building an illegal commercial facility and demanding immediate demolition. The documents claimed he planned a transient housing operation for undesirable elements that would destroy the community's moral fabric. Nathan read through 20 pages of fabricated nonsense, feeling like he was skimming a cheap thriller. Then, 3 county inspectors swarmed his land, checking everything from wiring to plumbing, issuing citations for non-existent violations. One inspector, Rodriguez, whispered, "Sorry, Mr. Brooks. Orders from above. Someone's paying big to make your life hell." Nathan nodded, sensing corruption as sharp as the mountain air. But the cruelest blow came that afternoon. Ava called, her voice trembling with anger. "Dad, kids at school are sending me posts saying you're a dangerous criminal. They say you're planning to wreck the neighborhood. I can't take it anymore." Nathan's blood ran cold. Vanessa had posted again on the Facebook group, calling him a threat to children and a community menace. The comments tore into Ava. "That girl's dad is a criminal, watch out. She might be dangerous like him." Nathan gripped his phone, rage surging. Vanessa wasn't just targeting him, she was ruining Ava's life. He called Lisa immediately. "She's gone too far. Slandering my daughter is unforgivable. We need to act now," Lisa replied. "This is serious defamation. I'll start the lawsuit, but we need more evidence to bury her." Ethan called late that night, his voice tense. "Nathan, I found a key document. Peak Pulse Resorts paid $500,000 to a community consulting firm run by Vanessa. That's not consulting, it's a bribe to secure your land for their resort. Everything she's doing is for that deal." Nathan nodded, feeling the puzzle pieces snap together. But Vanessa kept pushing. She filed another court order, demanding an emergency mental health evaluation for Nathan, claiming he showed signs of psychological instability and threatened community violence. The documents cited witnesses saying Nathan stalked neighbors at night, ranting about conspiracies. All lies, but convincing enough to raise doubts. Nathan knew Vanessa was desperate. She didn't just want his land, she needed it to seal her deal with Peak Pulse, but her desperation was her weakness. Nathan met Lisa again, bringing Jason's video and Ethan's report. Lisa. Do we have enough to sue? Yet Lisa flipped through the documents, her eyes gleaming. The video is proof of vandalism. Ethan's report shows financial fraud and bribery. We can sue for defamation, property damage, and coercion, but I want a knockout blow. If there's something bigger on your land, we can end this. Lisa's words sparked a memory of Roland's. At their last meeting, he'd said, "This land holds secrets bigger than the mountains. Nathan, if someone tries to take it, check the shed." Nathan returned to the dusty shed on his property, filled with the scent of old wood and machine oil. Under the floorboards, he pried with a crowbar, hearing a metallic clang like a prophecy. A green military safe appeared, locked with an old combination. Nathan tried Roland's birthday. The safe opened, revealing a stack of documents thick as an encyclopedia. At the top was a certificate for Brooks Holdings, LLC, formed by Roland 25 years ago. But the next document stopped Nathan cold contracts from 2008 when the Pine Ridge developer went bankrupt during the housing crash. Roland had bought the mortgage debt for the land under all 18 homes in the area, including Vanessa's, for pennies on the dollar. Nathan held the papers, feeling like he was holding a bomb. He didn't just own his 15 acres, he owned the land under Vanessa's feet and all of Pine Ridge. Residents thought they owned their homes, but they were tenants of Brooks Holdings. Vanessa had been collecting HOA fees on land she didn't own, and she was 3 months behind on her own rent. Nathan could evict her with a 30-day notice. He sat in the shed, moonlight streaming through the door, Roland's strength lingering in the air. Vanessa thought she was the queen of Pine Ridge, but she was just a delinquent tenant. Nathan could destroy her now, but Roland's words echoed. Don't let anyone take your land, but don't become like them. He didn't want revenge. He wanted justice. Nathan brought the documents to Lisa's office. This is the knockout you wanted, he said, placing the stack on her desk. Lisa flipped through, her eyes widening. This is legal gold. Vanessa's not just scamming residents, she's collecting fees on your land. We can sue for fraud, defamation, and property damage. But we need to play this right to win big. Nathan nodded. I don't just want to beat Vanessa. I want to protect this community from people like her. Lisa smiled. Then we need to prep for a big fight. Vanessa won't go down easily, but she has no idea who she's up against. Meanwhile, Vanessa played her final card. One morning, Nathan woke to sirens and flashing lights. A fleet of sheriff's cars lined his property, joined by news vans from Denver. Through the window, he saw reporters, deputies, and a response team. A voice blared through a megaphone. Nathan Brooks. You're surrounded. Come out with your hands up. Nathan, coffee in hand, stepped onto his porch, facing 6 rifle barrels aimed at his chest. Vanessa had played her biggest card. She'd accused Nathan of being a terrorist, claiming he threatened to destroy the community with dangerous devices. Those devices were just construction materials. But Vanessa had spun a story convincing enough to mobilize the sheriff. Nathan knew this was her desperate peak, but it was also his chance to turn the tables. Vanessa didn't know Roland's secret was in his hands, and this battle was about to become her worst nightmare. Nathan stood on his porch, coffee cup in hand, staring down the barrels of 6 rifles as the sheriff's megaphone echoed across the mountain. Vanessa Reynolds had painted him as a terrorist, spinning lies so bold they'd brought a SWAT team to his doorstep. But Nathan wasn't shaken. He handed the sheriff a USB drive with Jason's arson attempt caught on camera. Check this before you search my property, he said, voice steady as granite. Sheriff Daniels watched the footage, his face hardening as Jason's panicked expression filled the screen. "This changes things," he muttered, waving off the SWAT team. The bomb squad spent hours confirming Nathan's dangerous devices were just concrete mix and lumber, while Vanessa's credibility crumbled. By afternoon, news crews swarmed Pine Ridge, drawn by the mountain terrorist story. Vanessa seized the moment, positioning herself as the heroic HOA president saving families from a dangerous outsider. Standing before cameras, her makeup flawless and tears practiced, she declared, "This man has terrorized our children and threatened our way of life. We just want our community back." Her performance was gripping, but live TV was her undoing. A sharp reporter, Maria Lopez, asked, "Mrs. Reynolds, your HOA collected $1.5 million in fees this year. Can you explain where it went?" Vanessa's confident mask faltered. "That's confidential community business," she stammered, her pause deafening on air. Maria pressed, "You're accusing a man of terrorism on live TV. Shouldn't your finances be transparent?" The silence stretched, and Vanessa's story began to unravel. Nathan and Lisa Tran prepared for the Pine Ridge community meeting that night, Vanessa's final stage to rally support. The community center was packed. 90 residents crammed into a space meant for 60 news cameras lining the walls. Vanessa stood at the podium, her PowerPoint titled "Protecting Pine Ridge, the Nathan Brooks Threat." Dressed in a sharp suit, she clicked through slides showing Nathan's mansion, doctored social media posts, and charts claiming his presence tanked property values. "This man owes us $120,000 in fines," she declared, voice rising with righteous fury. "He's threatened our families, intimidated our children, and was investigated for terrorist acts yesterday." The crowd murmured, some nodding, others uneasy. Vanessa opened the floor for victim statements. 3 residents, clearly coached, delivered tearful tales of feeling unsafe. Then she made her fatal mistake. "Does anyone else have concerns about this dangerous outsider?" Nathan stood, leather folder in hand, and walked to the front. Vanessa's smile vanished. "You're not a member of this community. You have no right to speak." "Actually," Nathan said, his voice calm but commanding, "I have more rights here than anyone." He opened his folder, holding up the Brooks Holdings LLC certificate. "I'm the sole owner of Brooks Holdings, which owns the land under every home in Pine Ridge." The room froze. He spread deeds across the podium. "You think you own your homes, but your tenants, your mortgage payments, their rent, sent to my company. Vanessa's been collecting HOA fees on land she doesn't own, and she's 3 months behind on her own rent." Chaos erupted. Residents gasped, chairs scraped, and shouts filled the air. Vanessa lunged for the documents, screaming, "This is impossible. This is our community." Nathan held firm. "You've been stealing from these people." "Vanessa, while lying about my uncle's signature." Sheriff Daniels stepped forward, face grim. "Mrs. Reynolds, you've been collecting fees on Mr. Brooks' land. That's fraud." Vanessa's mask shattered, her screams echoing as deputies restrained her. Nathan raised his hand for silence. "I'm not here for revenge. Those who joined Vanessa's harassment have 30 days to leave. Everyone else, your rent's cut in half, and we're building a real community together." As federal agents entered to arrest Vanessa for wire fraud and defamation, her final scream rang out. "You can't do this. I am Pine Ridge, but communities aren't built on lies. They're built on truth." 3 months later, Nathan sat on his mansion's porch, watching kids play in what was once Vanessa's restricted common area. Ava arrived for her weekend visit, her smile bright. "Dad, I got into Stanford with a full scholarship," she announced, hugging him tightly. "My essay about how you taught me that real strength is building something better, not destroying others, sealed it." Vanessa was serving a 3-year federal sentence, ordered to pay $200,000 in restitution to defrauded families. Her husband's construction company went bankrupt after losing contracts tied to the failed Peak Pulse deal. 6 of her harassment allies quietly moved out, their leases terminated. The remaining residents embraced Nathan's vision, their halved rent freeing up money for home upgrades and college funds. The Brooks Community Justice Fund, created with Vanessa's recovered funds, now offered free legal aid to families fighting corrupt HOAs across 4 states, exposing scams in 20 communities. Nathan's neighbor Greg joined him on the porch, a barbecue's smoke drifting from a nearby potluck. "You turned this place around," Greg said. "People who feared you now borrow your tools and ask for advice." Nathan smiled, thinking of Roland's wisdom. Real power builds, not breaks. As twilight settled over the mountains, Ava handed him a letter from a Texas family facing a similar HOA nightmare. "They heard about you. Dad, they want the guy who took down Pine Ridge to help save their farm." Nathan opened the envelope, the scent of new challenges rising. Another fight for justice. Another chance to prove ordinary people with extraordinary will could defeat corruption. Thank you for following this story. Where are you watching from? Let us know in the comments below. If you'd like more inspiring stories about justice and resilience, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. We'll be back tomorrow with another must-see story you won't want to miss.